Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into something really central for a lot of people, this whole relationship between faith and doubt.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? We often grow up thinking they're like polar opposites. Black and white. Faith here, doubt over there. Can't have both.
Exactly. That's the gut feeling, right? That they're incompatible, enemies almost. But what if? What if that's not the full picture? What if the way we look at it is, well, kind of wrong? Could doubt actually be something different? Maybe even related to faith in a surprising way?
That's really the core question we want to explore today. Let's challenge that old assumption and see what we can learn about navigating those uncertain times, the questions that pop up.
Okay, so let's start there. Why do you think this idea that doubt is just plain bad is so sticky?
Well, I think it comes down to that simple contrast. Faith is believing what you can't see, right?
Right.
So doubt feels like the failure to do that. It feels like the lack of belief. So boom, it must be the opposite. It seems logical at first glance anyway.
But then you look at history. You look at these figures people point to as having immense faith.
And it gets complicated. Yeah, take John the Baptist. I mean, here's a guy right at the very start who points to Jesus and says, look, the Lamb of God.
Before all the big miracles even.
Exactly. That's incredible foresight, incredible faith, really. He saw something others didn't right then.
Just amazing intuition or connection.
Absolutely. But then, fast forward. John's locked up, things look bleak, the future's totally uncertain for him. And what does he do? He sends his followers to Jesus to ask, basically, are you really the one? Or should we keep waiting for someone else?
Whoa, wait, the same guy. The one who made that initial amazing declaration.
The very same.
So when things got tough, personally dark, the question arose, was that doubt?
It certainly feels like a question born from hardship, from uncertainty, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And he's not the only one. Think about Abraham, often called the father of faith.
Right, the foundational figure.
He gets this unbelievable promise from God. You're going to have a son against all odds, old age, everything. You'll be the father of nations.
A promise that seemed, humanly impossible.
Totally. And yet as time dragged on, years passed, and nothing.
Yeah.
The promise just hung there. And the records show, doubt started to creep in.
Yeah.
Enough doubt that he and Sarah, his wife, they cooked up their own plan B, right? Having a child through Hagar. It's like they were trying to force the promise, maybe because they started wondering if it would ever happen God's way.
So these giants of faith, John the Baptist and Abraham, they both had these moments, serious moments of questioning, of uncertainty.
It really makes you rethink that simple faith versus doubt idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If they're strict opposites, how could these people embody both? It suggests, well, maybe they're not opposites at all. Maybe they interact differently.
Okay, so if doubt isn't necessarily the enemy, what is faith then? According to the material we're looking at, there's that key definition people often turn to.
Yeah, the one for the book of Hebrews. It defines faith as confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see.
Confidence and hope, assurance in the unseen.
Okay. How does that fit with not seeing, with the uncertainty, with doubt being possible? There's a really helpful analogy that comes up. Think about legal proof, evidence in court. When do you actually need proof?
Well, when something's in question, right? When there's disagreement or it's not obvious, when someone doubts it.
Precisely. If everyone agrees, if a fact is just plain obvious, if there's zero controversy, zero doubt, you don't need to prove it. Proof exists because of uncertainty, because things aren't clear or universally accepted.
Okay, I think I see where you're going. If faith is called the proof or the assurance of things not seen.
Doesn't that suggest that the very situation requiring faith is, the situation where you don't see, the situation where uncertainty exists, where doubt is a real possibility? You don't need faith to believe the sun came up this morning. You just look outside. Faith comes into play for the things you can't see. The promise is not yet fulfilled. The areas where you have questions, where you might naturally feel doubt.
Wow. Okay, that really does flip the script. So faith isn't about eliminating doubt. It's about the response within the uncertainty. It starts where doubt can exist, not where it vanishes.
Exactly. It's the active choice of confidence, of assurance you make when things aren't crystal clear, when you don't have all the answers, when those questions naturally arise.
But surely there's a line, right? It can't mean all doubt is fine. There has to be a difference between honest questions and something else.
Oh, absolutely. And this is super important. The sources are clear. The real opposite of faith isn't that kind of honest wrestling doubt, the kind John or Abraham experienced. The true opposite is called incredulity, settled unbelief.
Incredulity. Okay, what's the practical difference there? How does that feel or look different?
Honest doubt is, well, it's active. It's seeking. You have a question, a struggle, and you bring it somewhere. You bring it to God. You wrestle with it.
It's maybe uncomfortable, but it's moving, seeking.
Yeah. Incredulity, though, that's different. It's not seeking. It's like digging in your heels. It's deciding to hold on to the doubt, let it grow, let it harden, until it becomes a refusal to trust, a refusal to obey, kind of closing yourself off.
So it's less about having the question arise and more about what you choose to do with that question, where you take it.
That seems to be the key distinction. It's interesting, the sources point out that even demonic forces believe, in a sense, they know facts about God intellectually.
Yeah.
But that's obviously not faith.
Right. Just knowing facts isn't the same as trust.
Exactly. Real faith is always linked to trust and then acting on that trust. Obedience, not just, ticking an intellectual box.
And this is crucial maybe for you listening right now. If you're someone who has questions, who feels uncertainty, maybe deep doubts sometimes, you are not alone in this doubt. Honestly, it's okay. It's part of being human, part of the journey. It doesn't automatically mean your faith is gone or weak.
The vital thing is what you do next. Do you bring those questions into the light, wrestle with them honestly, or do you let them fester and solidify into that hard place of unbelief?
And there are powerful stories showing people facing situations where doubt or fear would be totally natural, yet they chose trust.
Yeah, think about Ezra. Remember him, leading people back to Jerusalem. Dangerous trip.
Right, and he'd already told the king, we don't need your soldiers, God's got us.
I talk about a bold declaration of faith, huge trust. But then, the reality of that dangerous road probably hit him. And Ezra himself writes that he felt ashamed. Ashamed to go back to the king and say, actually, could we have those soldiers after all? After his big speech about trusting God alone.
Oh man, you can just feel that tension. The potential fear, the what if I was wrong, maybe a flicker of doubt about his own bold claim.
It must have been intense.
Yeah.
But what did he do? He didn't cave to that feeling, didn't go back to the king. He chose to, double down on trust. He and the people, they fasted, they prayed specifically for protection. And the account says God protected them, delivered them safely. It's such a clear picture. Faith operating alongside the potential for doubt and fear, making a conscious choice for trust and obedience anyway.
It's about the action taken despite the feeling. That connects to those analogies you mentioned earlier, the ones that really show the difference between just thinking something is true and actually trusting.
Oh yeah, the specialist analogies. They really drive it home.
Let's do the burning building one.
Okay.
Okay, so you're trapped, way up high, 10th floor, fire raging, desperate. And some random little kid runs up and shouts, hey, jump out the window, you'll be fine.
You might believe the kid thinks you'll be fine, maybe. But are you jumping? Probably not. There's overwhelming doubt about that plan.
Right. Your belief that the kid said it means nothing in terms of actual trust. But now, picture this. A seasoned firefighter appears. 30 years on the job, calm, expert. Looks you right in the eye and says, okay, this is the only way out. We have a team. The net is ready below. I know what I'm doing. You need to jump. Now.
Suddenly, the odds of you jumping go way, way up. Why? It's not like you can suddenly see the net perfectly or understand the physics. There's still uncertainty, fear.
But you trust the specialist. You trust their expertise, their track record, their authority in that moment. You're placing your confidence in them, acting on their word, even without full sight.
That's the act of trust. That's the confidence in what we hope for, assurance about what we do not see, based on who you're trusting.
And the tightrope walker, that one's great too. Acrobat, way up high. Announcer asks the crowd, who believes he can walk across? Hands go up, everyone believes that he can.
Sure, he's done it before.
Who believes he can cross pushing a wheelbarrow? Yep, still believe it. Carrying a person.
Again, intellectually. Yeah, people believe he could do it. He's that skilled. They believe that it's possible.
But then the real question comes, okay, who wants to be that person who's climbing on his back?
Silence. Crickets. Maybe one daredevil, but most people, no way. Believing that he can do it is totally different from trusting him with your actual life right there on the wire.
And that's the connection to faith, right? It's not just believing that God exists or that he's powerful or that certain things are true in theory.
It's about actively trusting him, the ultimate specialist, the one with the ultimate track record, and showing that trust by following his lead, by obeying, even when you can't see the safety net clearly, even when questions echo, even when doubt whispers.
Preciso pedir su ayuda para compartilhar ese bate-papo. Deixar-se o que se inscrever para outros conteúdos. Isso é uma palavra de positividade nos comentários.
Yeah, so bringing those honest doubts, those
Yeah.
real questions to the specialist, instead of letting them fester and turn into that hardened refusal, that's actually where strength can be found, surprisingly.
It seems like it's in that wrestling, that seeking, that saying, okay, I don't have all the answers, I don't see it all, but I choose to trust and act. That's where faith stops being just an idea and becomes this living, active confidence.
And the clear message is, God doesn't fear our questions. The examples show people close to him had big ones, wrestle openly, and it wasn't held against them. It didn't erase their faith. It was, well, part of their journey.
So pulling it all together from this deep dive, the big takeaway is maybe doubt isn't faith's opposite. Maybe it's often the starting block, or at least a travel companion.
Right. The real issue, the true opposite, seems to be that incredulity, the settled refusal to trust, the closed heart.
So if you hear yourself in these stories, if you feel those questions, take heart. It means you're human, and you're in pretty good company, historically speaking.
Ultimately, faith boils down to placing your active trust, your obedience, in the specialist who has proven himself trustworthy, even when the view is foggy and the questions are loud.
And maybe here's the final thought to chew on. If faith really only comes into play where certainty ends and doubt can begin, could honestly facing and wrestling with your doubts be one of the most vital ways your faith doesn't just survive, but actually grows deeper and stronger?